Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I've got some notes written down here. And I'm not sure which video we're doing. One of them is watching tanks that are not likely to do well in a city performing outstandingly in a city. And I've got an STB1 and then a Kunzi-Panzer game on city map. So I think that's the video I'm supposed to do. But there's another note here that says equating dispersion, accuracy, heart disease, earlobes, and viruses. So I'm not sure which video I'm doing. But we'll watch these games. We'll see how it goes here. But dispersion? What is dispersion, guys? What is the dispersion? Dispersion in this game. This STB1 has fairly good dispersion. The dispersion is a measurement that we have in the game. Oh, look at this. An asshole is blocking someone from... Oh, I didn't see asshole on here. Is this the biggest assholes episode? I don't know what I'm recording here. There's an EBR asshole on the team who tried to stop the object from going up the hill. Dispersion is a measurement. I think the STB1 has like a 0.35 dispersion. What does that mean? Well, it's just a number, right? And it means that that little circle we're looking at is 0.35 meters in radius for every 100 meters away the enemy is. And he just, well, and it also means that a manticore sucks. No, it doesn't mean that. That's what it means. That's what this... The dispersion value you see in the game, that's what it means. So that circle, see now it looks bigger compared to the tank because that tank's farther. That tank could be like 300 meters away. So the circle is, if his dispersion is 0.35 and the tank's 300 meters away, it's 0.35 for every 100 meters away. So 0.35 times 3, so that makes it 1.05. It's over a meter in radius. So it starts being almost as big as the tank. If the tank's 600 meters away, then the circle's even bigger relative to the tank, right? That's what it means. Dispersion. Is it a measure of accuracy? Well, this is where it gets interesting. That's what it means. It doesn't actually mean accuracy. Accuracy is like, well, look at his shots. They're all hitting dead on bullseye. And every shot he's taken has been like, right, bullseye. So you could kind of say to yourself, well, where the shots are going has nothing to do with the size of that circle. They're all hitting the white dot, except for that one. See, that one didn't. Accuracy is whether your shot hits bullseye or not. Dispersion is just the size of the circle. There's a formula of the shots will, all the shots you take will hit the target somewhere inside that circle, sometimes in the middle, sometimes... Right? There's a formula that governs where they go within that circle. That's accuracy. If the formula is the same for all tanks, then the circle means something. If the formula is different for different tanks, if that dispersion within the circle is not consistent from tank to tank, then the circle size doesn't really mean much. And you can watch my old video from long ago and one of Des games where I take 10 shots with a KV2 at a tank 400 meters away and hit all 10 bullseye, and then I switch to a Leopard in a training room and take 10 shots from 400 meters away at a target, and 2 of them hit the dirt and 3 of them deviate to the edge of the circle and don't really hit the target. But the Leopard's way more accurate. Well, but the shots didn't hit bullseye. So, dispersion, accuracy. You say tomato, I say tomato. Oh, look at this. He's able to... Oh, he almost made it up there. He went up there and said, oops, there's 2 of them. Numbers. It's all numbers. Statistics. That's why... It's hard to understand statistics. Statistics another word for statistics is lies. Statistics could be whatever you want. They could put whatever numbers they want in there, but the game will work however they want it to work. just like any statistics, any other statistic, right? For example, you get bombarded with statistics all the time, like if you eat too much red meat, you have a 32% chance increase of having a heart disease, or if you what else? If you don't exercise a certain amount of hours per day, then you have a X percentage more chance of having heart disease, or all these different bombarding with statistics that if you don't eat our particular brand of eggs, which are from low cholesterol chickens, then you have an 18.4% higher chance than average of dying of a heart attack. Right? People want to sell you something, so they'll quote a statistic that that tries to convince you that you should spend money on what they're trying to sell you. That's basically what statistics are. But funny enough, guys, there's now remember, you're watching a Klaus Kellerman entertainment channel here. I'm not a doctor, and I do make things up, right? But this is true, all right? Those of you realize that you're watching an entertainment channel, but I'm going to tell you something now that's absolutely true. Some scientific organizations have done some studies on heart disease. It's a heavily studied medical thing, and tried to figure out. This guy just ran into the wall because he's a Muppet. Trying to figure out what correlates the most, like what's the biggest cause, right? And they do huge statistical samples and statistical research on trying to figure out, well, you know, what correlates with higher incidence of heart disease. And one of the things, and they've measured everything under the sun. Like, one of the ways you can do it is measure everything, even things that you think would have nothing to do with it, and then see what has a correlation. That's called statistical analysis, Monte Carlo statistical analysis. Measure everything, thousands of things, put it in a computer and see what correlates with the outcome you're trying to study. And one of the things that correlates the most with higher incidence of heart disease is whether you have a crease in your earlobe. And I'm not freaking joking. Okay, one of the things that correlates the highest with incidence of having heart attacks is whether you have, and this Muppet pulled out because he wants to get reset and lose the game, is whether your earlobe has a crease in it. If your earlobe has a crease in it, you statistically have a much higher chance of dying of a heart attack than someone whose earlobe doesn't have a crease. Much higher correlation than whether you eat eggs or not, or whether you exercise, or whether it rains on Fridays, or whether you like bubble baths, because they've statistically measured everything, and that has one of the highest correlations. So what the hell does that mean? Does it really mean that that the crease on your earlobe causes heart attacks, or is there something else related that's causing your ears to be? Well, obviously, Klaus, if you eat bad food, you gain more weight, and then your ears are more likely to have. You're so fat that it's creased, and then fat people have heart attack. Well, they've looked at that too, and no, even if you're skinny. If you're skinny and you have a crease in your ear, you're more likely to have a heart attack than if you're, if you weigh 400 pounds and you have round ears. Remember, this is an entertainment channel, but what I'm telling you is 87.5% true. You can look it up, Google it. Creased ears. And so then scientists, you could just spew those statistics or those correlations as if, and try and sell people things, right? We have a pill that will uncrease your ears. It's only $49.95, 3 easy payments. If you order now, we will decrease the payments to $29.95. And we'll include this egg flipper. You can eat eggs with our pills and not have creased ears. And then you can make money on this stuff, right? That's what people do. That's called business. Now, you can try and figure out, is there some sort of causal correlation? Is there something that causes you to have decreased ears that also correlates, but we're not measuring that? We've missed a step. This causes the creased ears at a higher chance of having, but we don't know what this is yet? We don't know. There's so many things that if you do a Monte Carlo correlation, the thing that correlates the most is something ridiculous, right? What was the other one? The result of they've already happened, because this video is going to be released afterwards, but on whether a particular party in the US wins a particular election in the midterms correlates the best, and this is one particular seat in New York or something, or I don't know, in some state, correlates with whether the Phillies make it to the postseason in baseball. The Muppet is just sitting there waiting. You say, oh, the Phillies didn't make it to the World Series, therefore it's more likely that the Democrats or the Republicans are going to, or whatever. I don't know. You can Google that too. But that's the most, when you look at one political riding and whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, the highest correlation is whether the Phillies won their last baseball game or whether some guy threw a no-hitter or something like that. Right? I don't know. All I know is that it's ridiculous, right? Let put an end to this. Thank you. Thank you for putting an end to this. He ends up, guys, with Kolobanov's medal and 9,695 damage, 5 kills, and with some Russian math, ends up making credits. So, dispersion, accuracy, heart disease, earlobes, and viruses. Or tanks that are don't usually do very well in city maps, but do well in city. So, okay, we've got a Simon 007 from the PGC clan. Shout out to you guys, is in a Kunzi Panzer, which typically doesn't do well in a city map. Likes to hide in the bushes in Kempinabushka map, and he's going to do really well in this city map. He runs to the middle right away and he's going, oh my god, there's a Char Futur, who also ran to the middle, but the Char Futur takes like 40 seconds to even load his first shell and arrives before he loads, so sorry to you, Char Futur, you made a dumbass move there. Boom, snapperoonies. This guy's already got 1,100 damage, and I just started the second game. So how the hell am I going to relate dispersion, accuracy, heart disease, earlobes, and viruses? Well, I'm not allowed to talk about viruses. You're not allowed to talk about that anymore, or you'll get canceled. But let me make that. How do those topics relate? Now, we talked about dispersion, accuracy, and heart disease, and creased earlobes. It's statistics and correlations, right? And we just went through 2 or 3 years of intense talking about viruses. And the bottom line is, scientists don't know why one person can be so susceptible and have such a bad reaction to, say, a sickness or a virus, and another person, similar, has no reaction at all. Everything else being equal, And we throw around terms like, oh, I'm healthy, I've got a good immune system, I took lots of vitamins. And you can do all the correlations and all the statistics on everything, and not really, you'll have different levels of correlation, and not really understand what the hell's going on. Now, one thing we're not allowed to discuss anymore is different sicknesses and different, let's use the word viruses, affect different races differently. We've observed that. You can correlate that. You can say, let's not talk about the virus we've been talking about for the past 2 years, but something else. There's lots of different sicknesses that you can say, oh, this affects Asians more than Africans. The X sickness. And you can observe that. Oh, yeah, you know what? We noticed that. Why is that? Nobody knows, right? And let's fast forward to kind of the conclusion of what I want to talk here, because I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth and have the video canceled. But the point is that it may not necessarily... you can feel good saying, oh, I'm healthy, I've got a healthy immune system, whatever that means. Or, I've taken my vitamin D, I should be safe now from whatever. And yeah, those things are all, you can talk about them. But at the end of the day, the thing that has the most correlation is simply, and we don't understand it, is where have you been in your life? Not just you, your genetic lineage. Where have they been? Meaning, what have they been exposed to in the past? What inside your body, in your DNA, in your genetics, what knowledge is in there from where you've been and where your ancestors have been, and therefore what they've been exposed to in the past? What knowledge is already in there for you to use when you're exposed to something? There's a sickness comes around. Bill gets exposed, and Bill's fine. Bill doesn't, he doesn't notice anything. Bob gets exposed. Bill and Bob are two regular schmoes. Bob gets really sick. Bill doesn't. How come? They both took vitamin D. They're both 32 years old. They're both thin, and they both look pretty young. They both said, I got a pretty good in. Why? Well, because we don't know why. We don't know. Remember, this is not a medical channel. I don't know why. But there's something in, was it Bill or Bob that didn't get sick? Something in Bob's body that gave, he had some information in there that allowed his immune system to say, oh yeah, we've seen something like this before. All we have to do is this. It's no big deal. Whereas the other guy, was it Bill or Bob that... The other guy is like, holy fuck, what's this? We don't know what to do. The biggest natural experiment, this will be controversial, but the biggest natural experiment ever done in history is that of North America itself. You're not allowed to talk about it, but I will talk about it. And it's the simple fact that before Europeans came to North America, there was a population here that was a large population that had not interacted with Europeans before. Europeans were exposed to many different viruses and diseases from they lived in cities, they were exposed to animals. It doesn't really matter why, but they were exposed to many different diseases and viruses that the indigenous people in North America had never been exposed to before. So when Europeans came to North America, there were many healthy, powerful warriors who, if you looked at them, you'd say, holy shit, that guy is 100 times stronger and more healthy than that stupid European guy that has scurvy that just got off the boat. But that little virus affects him 1,000 times more. And in fact, that was the terrible thing that happened, was something like 80% of the indigenous people in North America died from exposure to viruses and sickness that they had no immunities for, because they'd never been to Europe, and that information had never been stored in their otherwise healthy bodies. It had nothing to do with they didn't have enough vitamin C, they didn't their immune system wasn't healthy. No, they were super healthy, and in some cases healthier than the Europeans that they were running around hunting and living off the land and not eating processed food, strong warriors. But their bodies did not have the information to provide, put up a battle against, simple common cold, or all the sicknesses that Europeans brought over. That's a real life example, a real life experiment. I shouldn't use the word experiment. I don't know what the correct word is, but a real life occurrence where that phenomena, it's like a slap in the face. That's reality. And it was just chance. Right? It could have went the other way around. It could have been that the Europeans arrived and there was something in North America that they had never encountered that would have wiped the settlers, or the what do they call the colonizers that came to North America. But that didn't happen. It happened the other way around. So, statistically speaking, you just don't know. It's a shit show. Is the answer? That's the title of this video. It's a shit show. The point is, don't think that you're so smart, or that you've got it figured out, or that I'm fine. I've got a healthy immune system. I don't have to worry about the pneumonic plague. You don't know. You have no idea. You have no idea because you don't know what's in your DNA, or what's in your, all that stuff. That's why scientists are doing so much work on trying to figure out, if we could figure out how our DNA works, how the information's stored in there, and actually put information into our DNA when we're born. Think of that. That's where the medical field is going now. If we could fiddle with the DNA to put the information in there so that the body knows, right? Anyways, that's so how does that all relate? Does it relate? Am I making any sense, or am I just babbling? I guess it doesn't really matter if I'm babbling, and I don't have to make complete sense. All I have to do is spur some thought within you. Think about it a little bit, because it's not just a topic that we're discussing here. It's in everything, right? We're statistics and numbers and cause and correlation, causality, is all stuff that's it's all wishy-washy, and different actors in a society can use to try and sell you stuff. But when you really think about it, and when you really try and figure it out, it's a lot more complicated and simple than you really think. And shut this guy up. This guy, now let's get back to, what was the other thing? We had tanks that don't normally perform well in cities that have good games in city maps. That's what this video is about. Plus, you went down the rabbit hole. You didn't have a plan. You started the video. You got your notes mixed up. And now these people have been subjected to viewing this shit show that you've forced them to endure. So what's the biggest factor in, if someone comes up to you and goes, achoo, in your face, what's the biggest correlation of whether you will get sick or not when they sneeze on your face? You can say, I have a healthy immune system, but that's not the biggest factor. First of all, what does that mean? What's the biggest factor is maybe, did your great-great-great-grandfather visit New Guinea? Maybe that is the biggest factor that will determine whether, when you're in the line at the grocery store and someone goes, achoo, whether you're going to get sick or not. You just have no freaking idea. That's what this video is about. I knew I'd figure out what this video is. I knew I'd figure it out, god damn it! I've been talking for 22 minutes and I finally figured out what this video is about. I finally figured it out. There. And now, just to top it off, To top it off, guys,
I think I heard a crack there.
a tank that doesn't do normally well in city map wins. The other common thread that went through this video is both those guys got Kolobanov's medal. Did you notice that? Did you notice that, guys? He got Kolobanov's medal. But there's always a theme. There's always a theme in the videos. It's not just gibberish. There's a thread that meanders its way through the videos. If you listen carefully, you could pick up on 2 or 3 or 4 threads that are weaving their way through at any given time. It's not just one. It's not like an arrow to the point. Sometimes, taking the long way home sometimes is better. Take the long way home, right? Subscribe to the channel, guys. Help the channel grow, and I will catch you guys for more meandering thoughts on the next one.